Hey everybody, Scott Jansen here. In today's video, I actually want to talk about why I actually stopped selling hypnotherapy and actually stopped selling coaching as well. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is not only what we teach our students to do, but I highly recommend that you employ this in your practice, regardless whether you're a coach, you're a therapist, NLP, you're an RTT, you're a healer, it really doesn't matter. The model I'm about to show you is the difference between a hypnotherapist making, let's say, $1,000 a month, which is pretty typical, or one of our students or someone who employs this in their business who can do upwards of $1,000 per day, but actually see less clients. So let's run you through the timeline of how I came up with this model and why I had to change it, because you might be experiencing some of the same pain points that I had when I first launched my hypnotherapy business, and I want to show you how you can change it in your business today. So as you guys are well aware, or if you're not, let me introduce you to what I used to do. So before I had my coaching company now, what I used to do was actually a stop smoking hypnotherapist. That's where I first started. And like anybody, I launched my business under the old model of what I saw happening in the industry and what I noticed everybody else charging, and the same sort of information that all of these gurus and, big time hypnotherapists and coaches were talking about at the time. This was a long time ago. But what's funny is this model that I was following such a long time ago, although it's been proven to be broken, like it just doesn't scale, there's probably more hypnotherapists and coaches going to a full-time job. This model is still taught to today, like tens of years later, still talked about today. And the pricing model, the pricing structure, the scaling of the business, how hypnotherapy and coaching business can't grow too well. No one seems to be reinventing this model. So let me show you what I had to do. And like I said, what we teach our students to do as well. So let's go back many, many years when I was a stop smoking hypnotherapist. I was using hypnotherapy, conversational hypnosis, and a bit of clinical hypnosis based on what I was taught. And I was selling the normal sessions and packages and things like this. And my main clients were stop smoking clients because that's what I was trained in. That's what my mentor was an expert in. So that's what he taught me to do. And that's what I was happy doing. I liked these clients. It was satisfactory. I had some fun with these clients. And what I thought at the time was charging like $100, and it would take me like maybe 2 or 3 sessions to work with these people. So let's say $100, I'm getting the cash for that. And it might take me anywhere from maybe 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on the client, depending on my expertise. And obviously, the more clients I saw, the quicker it got because I was more experienced. But that was pretty much the money I was earning was $100 to quit smoking. But at the time, what I was doing, which was the biggest flaw in my practice, and for most coaches and hypnotherapists still doing this today, is I was selling hypnotherapy. I was selling something that I had to continually explain to my clients. I'm trying to sell hypnotherapy sessions and packages and programs, even trying to sell like life coaching packages and programs to people. And I forever had the objection like, okay, Scott, that sounds fine, but what is hypnotherapy? Can you explain it to me? So instead of trying to close this client or get a new client, have them pay me, I spent forever trying to discuss and almost teach these people about something they didn't care about, something that I knew enough about, but something I couldn't quite articulate to new people about how it all worked. And I'd spend half an hour trying to explain this thing with coaching lingo and therapy lingo and trying to prove my point, where at the end, a lot of the time, the client would say something like, well, I don't think that sounds like it's for me, or, why is this so expensive, or can I ask my husband or my wife? And these are common objections I'll get to in a moment. But my point really here is, at the time when I was charging about $100, I was forever trying to sell hypnotherapy. I'm trying to sell the how I was going to do things. Now, what I found was even when I was closing these clients, I started to get maxed out because my time and my day, just like you guys, is split into 2 equal parts at the time. My time with clients and my time to get new clients. So time to get new clients was speaking to new potential clients on strategy calls, which takes time. Doing social media. At the time, there wasn't a lot of social media at the time, so I was actually going around door knocking, handing out flyers and my business cards, and trying to get my foot in the door at local businesses. The stuff I still see people doing today, and it's been decades since this was invented. And again, it doesn't prove to work. It's a broken model, but people are still doing it today, which is I can't wrap my mind around. Anyway, let's get back onto the point I'm trying to make here. When I'm trying to sell the how, and I'm trying to sell this $100, I was getting maxed out. So let's say, for example, I'd see 10 clients per week. Okay, so that's $1,000 a week. And when I first started, that was fine. But I found by the end of the week, I was exhausted. And if I had a busy week, I found that the next week wasn't busy. I didn't have enough clients. Why? Because all the week before was spent sitting in front of my clientele, and there wasn't enough time for me to leave my office and go get new clients for the following week and the following week and the following week. So the model was, if I wanted to grow past that $1,000 a week, or I wanted to get past that exhaustion ceiling that I was hitting, I couldn't see more clients because I didn't have enough time. And if I wanted more money, ideally I'd have to get more clients, but I didn't have enough time. I was getting exhausted. You can see the parallel that I'm drawing here. So at the point where I thought, well, $1,000, that's okay, but I really want to grow this. What do I need to do next? I'm going to show you that transition of why I raised my prices and how you can do this. But again, I want to point out what I noticed when I was charging that $100 and I was talking about hypnotherapy. The objections were always common, price objections, which was, is that the best you can do? What am I really paying for? Can I pay it off $10 a week? You know, the normal ridiculous excuses that we get. The next common one was a cheaper objection. So I was actually finding, I thought $100, that was pretty good, because I'm trying to sell the how, I'm trying to sell hypnotherapy, and I'm trying to explain this to people and show enough value where $100 makes enough value to them. Then they say, well, I can go down the road. They're only charging $50. Why should I see you? And I was stumped. I didn't know what to say. I mean, what can you say at this point? Well, I'm a better hypnotherapist, or I can do it, you know, better than Joe Bloggs down the road. But that's what everyone's going to say. That's what Joe Bloggs is going to say about me. So that was a moot argument as well. Then I got the whole, I need to ask my spouse objection. Okay. Could you imagine explaining hypnotherapy to a brand new person for half an hour and then trying to convince them or teach them to teach their husband or their wife about hypnotherapy as well? Because remember, I'm selling hypnotherapy. How can I expect that person to go ask their spouse when their spouse is going to ask the exact thing that this client has asked me, which is, what is hypnotherapy? What is coaching? How do I know this works? They don't know what to sell. They don't know how to sell it. So obviously, I didn't make any money and I never closed any of those clients. Another big thing was, will this work? For people that did know about hypnotherapy, they'd done a bit of research, and we know if someone goes and does research, they jump on the internet, what's the first thing they see about hypnotherapy? It's mind control. It's fake. You'll get stuck in hypnotherapy. And these were grave concerns of these clients. And now I've got to spend all this time trying to convince people that's not the case. And I'm forever sort of beating a dead horse here, and I'm just pushing up against a solid brick wall because I had no clear objections to overcome this. Why? Because I'm selling the thing they're afraid of. I'm selling the thing they don't see value in. I'm trying to sell something that they don't know about. It's not their fault. I was selling the wrong thing. So keep that in mind for now. Then there was a guarantee. How do I know this will work? Is there a guarantee? And lastly, the biggest one, really encapsulate this, was the hypnotherapy objections. Okay, how do I know this will work? How do I know I'm not going to get stuck in hypnosis? All the stuff I talked about just before. And I spent all my time trying to convince these people of something that they were so hardwired to believe because they saw an article online or their friend told them it's fake or this. What do you think happened? I spent more time trying to convince people of how I did things, and I started making absolute less money. So over time of doing this, I'm spending more time trying to convince people of the thing I was trying to sell them. So as I noticed that my income was doing this all the time, and I got very, very sick of it, I found myself waking up each morning going, how am I going to get a client? What am I supposed to say? Maybe it's about me. Maybe it's a money block that I have. And I spent all this time trying to clear what's going on in my head until I had an epiphany. I realized that was all substitute to what really needed to happen. I needed to change the model. So while everybody around me, all the experts, all the other therapists and coaches that were in my area that I knew and was introduced to and sort of had as colleagues and stuff like that when I first got into the industry, and people I was introduced to were all selling this thing. They were selling hypnotherapy and coaching, but they were forever fighting on price. They were ever fighting for like the last morsel, the last client that would actually pay for their services. So I couldn't compete with that, and I didn't want to compete with that. I knew I had a bigger vision and I wanted to make a bigger impact in my client's life, which means that I have to make more money because I want to service more clients. Okay, they're not separate, they're together. So what I had to do then was I gave up on selling hypnotherapy and coaching, and I implore you to stop selling hypnotherapy and coaching today. NLP, RTT, healing, whatever it is. Never sell the how. It's the first thing we teach all of our 100K coaching program students, probably in the second video of week 1, which is stop selling the how. Clients do not care how you do it. They don't understand. If we're spending all of our time trying to convince people, you're spending all your time on the wrong things. So what I did next was, when I had that epiphany and thought, well, instead of trying to spend all my time trying to sell this thing here, why do clients want to come and see me? Realistically, what do they want from me? And I thought about it and I realized they just want a result. They want to be a non-smoker in most cases. So why don't I sell that? If I'm spending all this time talking about hypnotherapy, why don't I spend all that time talking about the result? What life's going to be like working with me? What your health, your lungs, your skin, everything, all the byproducts of working with me today, what's all of those incredible things that are going to happen as a result of quitting smoking? And everything changed. I don't just mean that as a weird metaphor, like everything changed. I started to notice that my clients were not focused on these things. They weren't focused on hypnotherapy, even though they knew I was a hypnotherapist, because I had told them. Because I was spending so much time trying to convince them of this, maybe something was happening inside their head where they're thinking, why does Scott keep trying to convince me of hypnotherapy? It could be like an unconscious thing that's going on. It triggers all the wrong thoughts and already you're in the wrong place. But when I started talking to my clients about the results versus the how, clients knew I was a hypnotherapist. And I started talking about the results and the satisfaction they'd have. And I built up a very positive emotion. It's like it broke all of this down. Sure, occasionally I had the price objection or I need to ask the spouse, which was fine. But I didn't have to deal with the cheaper objections. I didn't have to deal with price objections anymore. I didn't have to deal with, will this work? What's your guarantee? Will hypnotherapy keep me in trance all day long? Will you make me cluck like a chicken? Those ridiculous things. All of those things stopped. Why? Because I wasn't putting attention on them. I was putting attention on results. And what I actually did was to test this idea was I increased my prices. Why? Well, if I got the objection as to, I can go down the road and see Joe Bloggs, you're charging me $500, he's only charging me $100, I'd put it as, I'm the expert in stop smoking. This is all I do. Me and Joe Bloggs, I'm the brain surgeon. He's the general practitioner. If you had a car, would you take it to the place to get it serviced where you bought the car? As in, let's say you drive a BMW. If you want your BMW serviced, you take it to a BMW dealer. You take it to a service mechanic who deals only with BMW, because not only are you going to get the right satisfaction, but they know that car inside and out. And this was just the general metaphor conversation I had with people. And what I'm trying to prove here is I'm the expert in this. This is all I do. I don't see weight loss. I don't see this. I don't see that. That's why my prices are high, because I am the expert in it. And this clicked inside my client's mind and they saw the value in this. So my conversations were now about results and I got less objections. And you may notice this in your own practice. If you are getting common objections and you're forever trying to fight them, it's generally because of this thing right here. You're selling the wrong thing. And if you don't change this, you're going to be forever dealing with this. I don't know about you, but I'd rather spend half an hour talking about results with my clients than trying to spend half an hour trying to show hypnotherapy or trying to talk about hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy and coaching is such a tough thing to talk about anyway, because there's a lot of metaphors, a lot of anecdotes, a lot of this, a lot of unconscious mind, conscious mind, things that your clients do not understand and will just give you that blank stare. They'll zone off. And when you get to the price again, it's back to, I don't think this will work, because you haven't convinced them. We don't have time to convince people, but we do have time to show people results. So my conversation was now about results. And the awesome thing about this, my clients started to get really, really excited about this stuff. It was easy for me to have a conversation and show them the future results instead of trying to prove something that they didn't care about or didn't know about. And I've got those less objections. And what happened? My new prices went up from $100 a session down up to $500, and I started getting more yeses. Now, remember what I talked about, our time is split equally. Now what happened is not only did my prices increase, but I could see less clients. Now, what did I do with that extra time? Well, I didn't sit back and watch TV. I didn't sit back and just waste my time. What I did was I put more time into getting clients for the following week and the following week. And I started booking myself out to at least a month in advance. Before, when I was working in this model, my income was like this. Let me get it in front of the camera there. My income and my success was like this. Now with this model, I started to see this. Oh, let me get it in front. There we go. I started to see this. I started to see a predictable increase in not only my income, but my client satisfaction went through the roof. They started sending me more referrals. They started treating me like an expert. My own pride in my business increased. My anxiety and my stress and my worry went down. So it's not only that my business model changed, I changed. The health of me changed. Okay, so from here, $500 a session, I wanted to see how far I could push this. As I really wrapped my mind around this model, I realized that even $500 to stop smoking, where I'm just talking about the immediate value, like you'll quit smoking in the next 2 sessions or something like this. I'm talking about the current, the present. We're talking about the now. And that's pretty good at $500, but I knew I could do more. So what did I do? I ramped it up to $1,500 and I talked about the end result. Whether I worked with a client for 1 session, 3 sessions, 45 minutes, 2 hours, it did not matter. I'm charging more so I can abide with more time. I've got bigger gaps in my diary right now. But what's the conversation that I had? And this is the same thing I pull into my coaching business today. My coaching company. And it's something we teach all of our thousands of students to do as well, is always about results. Because at the end of the day, we know now that that's what clients are paying for. But what I did next, and when I understood this model and really how clients view what we do, again, it was night and day. I thought this changed my life and my business, but this is where things went to a whole new level. This is the new model that I created for myself. It's the new model that we create for our students, the new model that we've created for the entire industry. And it's why you guys have probably seen the thousands of testimonials that we have, students going from zero all the way up to $40,000 per month without ads, without funnels, without all the normal things. One of the big catalysts for that is this right here. Okay. So let me explain how this model works. You're getting a real glimpse here, guys, into what we teach in the 100K coaching program. But I do want to show this because I think this is important. So now we're concentrating on results. We're only talking to our clients about results. But during this conversation, I started to turn my random conversations with clients on the phone into a strict presentation. I had steps and a system to take my clients through because I needed them to see the value of $1,500 for me or $100 down the road for Joe Blogs. And sometimes it wasn't enough just to have a conversation because that's auditory. I wanted to put together like a presentation type thing, or at least have steps in my mind that I could almost tick off on a piece of paper. Like I've covered that part, I've showed value here, I've done this, I've done that. That's going to equal a paying client. I know if I stick to this, it's going to equal a paying client. What did this do for my own business? Well, it took again away any stress, any worry, where I started to just close everybody by following this process. So $1,500 end result. Now my conversation, once I gave my price, or even just before I gave my price, I made my client aware of 3 things. And guys, grab a notepad and pen, write this down because this will change your business. I can guarantee it if you implement it. If you don't, and you're happy just doing $1,000 a month and stressing out about income and success, don't bother listening to me. Just stick with this here. Okay, but back to it. So I talked to my client not only about we're going to quit smoking, that's the result, but I also made my client aware of these 3 things: the past, the current estimation, and what I call the future estimation. So what's this about? So once I gave my price, obviously clients are going to think, wow, $1,500, God, that's a lot of money. So I had to prove my point. So what I bring up to my client is I'd ask them, like, as an example, I'll use the context of smoking. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're doing this for stop smoking, which has a financial element, a saving, you're going to be able to save your client. It also has an emotional element. So if you're thinking, well, Scott, I don't sell stop smoking. I sell people to emotionally feel better. More than likely, and in most cases, the emotional value that you're going to save your client from past, current, and future, which I'm going to show you, outweighs the income. Okay, so don't stress out about that. Okay. So past, I'd say to my client, I'll use the context of smoking. I'd say, how long have you been smoking for? And they say, well, I've been smoking for 20 years. Okay. Ask them, how much money have you spent per month over that 20 years? And they might say $300 a month, $500. I even had clients at the time spending $1,000 a month on cigarettes. And this used to blow me away. Now you can do the quick maths for that and get out my calculator. And I'd say, I just want you to recognize this. In the past of the last 20 years, you have wasted, that's the past waste, this amount of money. And they look at it and go, wow, that's a lot. Okay. Seems simple, but sometimes clients don't calculate this. And I also ask them, while you're smoking, have you had any health problems? They say, yeah, I had to go to the doctor here, had to buy medication here, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. How much do you reckon you're spending per year going to the doctor based on smoking? Well, it's a couple of $1,000s here, medication, a couple of $1,000 here, maybe Scott, another $5,000 a year. Quickly add that up over the 20 years. Now I give them that. What I'm doing is I'm showing all the money, the frustration, and the emotional things that have been wasted over the last 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long your clients have had that problem for, guys. You want to point this out. Show them, and already, it doesn't seem like much now, $1,500 if you've wasted $40,000 odd over the last 20 years with the smoking, with the emotional issues that you've had, the health issues that you have. See where I'm going here, guys? See my point? So I point that out. Then what I say, okay, so that's the past. I want you to check this out. If you quit smoking with me today and we start working together, over the next 12 months, how much do you think you're going to spend per month on smoking? And they say, well, Scott, as a matter of fact, I'm actually spending more money now. Of course, we know addictions, guys, as therapists and coaches, increase. We'll just get that in front of the camera. It's a weird way. They increase because clients become more dependent on the addiction, okay? And they have to spend more money to satisfy that craving. So in the past, they're spending $1,000 a month, and when we quickly calculate it, now they're up to $2,000 a month. Plus the extra medical bills, the extra health bills. Plus there's more emotional costs because of the emotional turmoil of maybe the wife wanting them to quit, but they can't do it. The emotional issues at work because they have to go outside every half an hour and have a cigarette, and their boss keeps getting on them about it. All of these things make your clients super aware of these things. So what you're saying in the current, if you work with me today, this is the estimation of the next 12 months, how much you're going to spend if you don't work with me. But if you work with me, I'm going to save you this. See where we're going, guys? Now I'm talking about the current value, the present value over an estimation of 12 months. Now, what we can do is really estimate this. And the good thing about estimation is everybody does it, okay? Not even just in our business. If you go to buy a house or you want to sell a house, your real estate agent will give you an estimation of the house worth. If you go to a dealership, they might give you the estimation of how much fuel you'll use over a certain amount of kilometers with that car. The estimation model is great. And you can say to clients, look, this is just an estimation. It might even be more. It might be a little bit less, but more than likely it's going to be more. Do you understand that, client? Client says yes. Then what we do, and my favorite thing, is to talk about the future estimation. So here we go, guys. Let's say I've got my calculator. Let's say this is my calculator right here. I show this is the past. This is the last 20 years. This is what you've spent, $40,000. Again, just an example. This is the current 12-month estimation. You're going to spend another $20,000 just this year alone, and the estimation over the next 20 years is how much you're going to spend. What I'm showing you is I can work with you to become a non-smoker for $1,500. And what also I'm going to make sure I'm going to bring to your attention is not only what am I going to save you emotionally and financially, is I'm also going to show you what I call byproducts of working with me. What do you think is going to happen in your life, client, if you quit smoking? Do you think your health is going to increase? Do you think your motivation to maybe go to the gym and get healthier is going to increase? Do you think that having that extra money in your account and paying off your mortgage is going to help you feel more pride? Do you think that your children are going to look at you now as a role model? Do you think that has some sort of value in your life? Client says yes. How much do you think that's worth? Well, Scott, I can't even put a price on that. That's exactly what I want to do. Bang, I've got them. Could you imagine showing a client the financial savings that you're going to work with, that you're going to be able to save them emotionally and financially? Let's say it's well above $100,000 worth of estimated value, and you're only charging $1,500, guys. Can you see my point here, guys? You guys should have a massive smile on your face. I get excited about talking about this. This is the new model. This is why you need to be charging more money. Because if you don't charge more money, somebody else is going to charge them. The cigarette company is going to charge them. The medical industry is going to charge them. Their emotion is going to charge them. So why don't you get a cut in that? You are changing their life. And you are saving them emotional cost, financial cost, and any other cost you can think of, health cost, whatever it is, by working with you today. All you have to do, guys, is show. And we give our students what's called a future value deck. So we've actually set up this presentation for them. They show their clients this, and it points out exactly what they're going to be saving them, whether it's a financial thing, it's an emotional thing, or it's both, or it's just emotional, it's just financial, whatever it is. You need to make your clients very, very aware of this stuff. So when they're looking at this and thinking, wow, emotionally, I'm going to save all of this time, all of this anxious or anxiety, all of this fear, all of these health issues, plus you're going to be saving me $20, $30, $40, $50,000 per year in quitting smoking and all the other health costs and medical bills, it's a no-brainer to work with me for $1,500. Now, guys, already in your head, you might be looking at this and going, wow, that's not even that much, because it's not. But over here, could you imagine if we just started selling hypnotherapy sessions, not talking about the waste, the past, current, and future waste, not talking about the sessions themselves, not talking about the results, not talking about any of that stuff, and we're just talking about trying to convince somebody who won't even pay $100 for 2 sessions that it's going to cost them $1,500 to buy something called hypnotherapy or RTT or coaching, something they have no idea about. This is how we change the model with your pricing scheme, guys. Okay? So guys, when it comes to your clients, always remember this: clients pay for results, not the how. And you want to have a strict presentation either in your mind or be able to visually show clients the past stuff they've wasted, the emotional cost from the past, the financial cost of the past, the current and the estimation of the next 12 months, the future, the estimation of the next 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, could even be 1 year, guys, and the additional byproducts in a positive way that they're going to get of working with you. This is what you need to be showing to your clients. You want to be able to break this down to them step by step, and this is how guys, your prices can increase, will increase, should increase, and you actually get more yeses by actually putting together a proper presentation and showing your clients the future value and the results of working with you. So guys, hopefully that was informative. I'm very excited to talk about this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just comment below. You can always reach out to me as well. Make sure as well you jump into the description, go check out our brand new webinar that talks about this in more detail, plus many other things. You do want to check this out. It's the whole new model that we're helping our therapists and coaches create in their business. So go check that out in the description. It's a free masterclass. Go check that out. There's a couple little freebies in there for you as well. So that's all from me for today, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.